Hello and welcome back to my channel of an everyday life of an ASB. If you're new to my channel, I welcome you all. I'm ASB. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness and sharing my life stories. While I'm away, I'm hoping to educate you all as well as also hopefully just giving you some fun and games along the way. If you haven't seen some of them, I humbly apologise of the ones that you may want to be entertained. So be on the lookout anyways. I'm sure that they'll be floating about. If not, then you may have to switch it over to Father Lies channel where I did a couple of challenges with him. So I'll link his, channel to the description below. So this one today is going to be another health related one, even though this is not an autism related one, just to give you guys some clear understanding and knowledge and know-how. So hopefully that if you run into this kind of disorder or any other disorders that are based on our bodily functions, that we can be on the lookout for the warning signs and symptoms. And as a key reminder, as a disclaimer, as always, I'm no medical doctor. I'm just your normal day blog. So if you see any warning signs and symptoms in regards to the ones I'm sharing with you now or in the present, do seek professional help for yourself or your loved one. Or if you want to seek second opinion for yourself or your loved one, that's forever alright, because I don't forever condone self-harm. So this one today is going to be all about hemochromatosis. So let's begin this. What is it? Hemochromatosis is an iron disorder in which the body simply loads up too much iron content from many irons. This action, however, is genetic and this is due to the excess iron. If, however, this is left untreated, this can cause damages to the joints, organs, and eventually becomes fatal. Hereditary hemochromatosis causes the body to absorb too much iron from the food that we eat. Excess iron is stored in our organs, especially the liver, heart, and pancreas. Too much iron can lead to life-threatening conditions such as liver disease, heart problems, and diabetes. The genes that causes hemochromatosis are inherited, but only a minority of people who have these genes will ever develop these serious problems. The signs and symptoms of hereditary hemochromatosis will usually appear in our midlife, stage of our life, be it 20, 30 years of age. It may vary from female to male. Treatment may include regularly removing blood from the body because much of the body's iron is contained in the red blood cells. As we know, this treatment lowers iron levels. There are several types of hemochromatosis, so I'll just quickly share one of them or what have you, which is type 1, which is also called the classic hemochromatosis, or HHC, which is a leading cause of iron overload disease. People with HHC or too much iron absorbs extra amounts of iron from their daily diet. The human body cannot rid itself of this extra iron, so over time these excesses build up in major organs such as the heart, liver, pancreas, joints, and the pituitary glands. If the extra iron isn't therefore removed, these organs will then become deceased. Untreated hemochromatosis can be fatal. Iron is an essential nutrient found in many foods, as we know. Iron carries blood to the oxygen to the blood in all parts of the body. And hemoglobin, which is the hemoglobin. Normally, humans absorb 8 to 10% of the iron in foods that they eat. People with hemochromatosis can absorb 4 times more iron than normal people. Undiagnosed and untreated hemochromatosis increases the risk for diseases and conditions such as the following: diabetes mellitus, 2, irregular heartbeat or heart attack, 3, arthritis, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, 4, cirrhosis of the liver or liver cancer, 5, gallbladder disease, 6, depression, 7, impotence, 8, infertility, 9, hypothyroidism, 10, hypogonadism, and 11, some cancers. Mismanagement in the brain has been observed, though, however, by most clinicians in autopsies of people with neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, early onset of Parkinson's disease, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, and Huntington's disease has been also shown. Caucasians. The causes: liver. In the liver, as we know, hereditary hemochromatosis is caused by mutation in a gene that controls the amount of iron your body absorbs from the food you eat, as I said. These mutations, however, are then passed from parents to children. This type of hemochromatosis is far the most common gene mutations that cause hemochromatosis. A gene called HFE is most often the cause of hereditary hemochromatosis. You inherit one of the HFE gene from each of your parents. The HFE gene has two common mutations, C2A2Y and H6-3D. Genetic testing can reveal whether or not you have these mutations in the HFE gene. If you inherit two abnormal genes, you may develop hemochromatosis. You can also pass the mutation onto your line of children. But not everyone will, however, who inherits two genes develop these problems linked to the iron overload of hemochromatosis. If you inherit one abnormal gene, however, you won't develop hemochromatosis. You are considered a gene mutation carrier that therefore can pass the mutation on to your children, but they wouldn't develop the disease unless they also inherited another abnormal gene from the other parent. How does hemochromatosis affect our organs? Iron plays an essential role in several bodily functions, including helping in the formation of blood. But too much iron, however, is known to be toxic. A hormone called hepcidin, secreted by the liver, normally controls how iron is used and absorbed in the body, as well as how excess iron is stored in the various organs that is needed. In hemochromatosis, the normal role of the hepcidin is disrupted, causing your body to absorb more iron than it needs. This excess iron is stored in major organs, especially the liver. Over a period of years, the stored iron can cause severe damage that may lead to organ failure and chronic diseases such as cirrhosis, diabetes, and heart failure, though many people have faulty genes that may cause this too. Only about 10% of them develop iron overload to a degree that causes tissue and organ damage. Hereditary hemochromatosis isn't the only type of hemochromatosis. Other types include juvenile hemochromatosis. This causes the same problems but in young people that hereditary hemochromatosis causes in adults. But iron accumulation begins much earlier and symptoms usually appear between the ages of 15 and 30. This disorder, however, is caused by the mutations in the hemojuvelin or hepcidin genes. Neonatal hemochromatosis. In this severe disorder, iron builds up rapidly in the liver of the developing fetus. It's thought to be an autoimmune disease in which the body attacks itself. Secondary hemochromatosis. This form of the disease isn't inherited, however, and is often referred to as an iron overload. People with certain types of anemia and chronic liver disease may need multiple blood transfusions, which can lead to excess iron accumulation. Factors to look out for. Factors that increase your risk of hereditary may include having two copies of the mutated HFE gene. This is the greatest risk factor for hereditary hemochromatosis. Family history. If you have a first-degree relative, a parent or sibling with hemochromatosis, you are more likely to develop the disease. Ethnicity. People of Northern European descent are more prone to hereditary hemochromatosis than are people of other ethnic backgrounds. Hemochromatosis is less common in African Americans, Hispanic, and Asian Americans. Your sex. Men are more likely than women to develop signs and symptoms of this disorder at an early age. Because women lose iron through menstruation and pregnancy, they tend to store less of the mineral than the men do. After menopause or a hysterectomy, however, the risk for women will likely to increase. Complications. Untreated hereditary hemochromatosis can lead to a number of complications, especially in your joints and in organs where excess iron tends to be stored, and other life-threatening complications such as pancreas problems. Damage to the pancreas can lead to diabetes, heart problems. Excess iron in your heart affects the heart's ability to circulate enough blood to what your body will need. This is called congestive heart failure. Hemochromatosis can also cause abnormal heart rhythms such as arrhythmias. Reproductive problems. This can lead to erectile dysfunction, impotence, and loss of sex drive in men and absence of the menstrual cycle in women. Skin color changes. Deposit of iron in skin cells may make your skin appear bronze or grey in color. Chronic fatigue and joint pain are the most common complaints of people with this disorder. For this reason, the complete diagnosis is often delayed because these two symptoms are commonly seen in other forms of diseases of other bodily organs. Pain in the knuckles of the pointer and middle finger, collectively called the iron fist, is the only sign or symptom specific to hemochromatosis. However, not everyone with HHC will experience this iron first. Patients will often complain of the following two of these symptoms, although these indicators aren't always specific to hemochromatosis, so bear in mind: lack of energy, abdominal pain, memory fog, loss of sex drive, heart flutters, irregular heartbeat. When symptoms are associated with hemochromatosis, these usually begin in men in their late 20s, early 30s. In women, however, symptoms usually start about 10-15 years after they stop having a period due to menopause, birth control pills, or hysterectomy. Diseases that can develop untreated: bone and joint osteoarthritis or osteoporosis in knuckles, ankles, and hips, liver, enlarged liver, cirrhosis, cancer, liver failure, diabetes. Skin, abnormal color, as I've said, heart, irregular heartbeat, enlarged heart, congestive heart failure. Endocrine, diabetes, hypothyroidism, hypogonadism, infertility, impotence, hormone imbalances. Spleen, enlarged spleen. Hemochromatosis can be overlooked by a doctor who is concentrating on treatment of the diseases that are present in the patient. Many doctors still believe what they learned in medical school, that hemochromatosis is rare and only happens in older men. When hemochromatosis is discovered early and treated before the organism can cure, a person can live a normal and healthy life. Any family practice physician is qualified to diagnose and order treatment for a hemochromatosis patient. Hereditary hemochromatosis can be difficult to diagnose. Early symptoms such as stiff joints and fatigue may be due to conditions other than what I've just said. Many people with the disease don't have any signs or symptoms that are elevated levels of iron in the blood. Hemochromatosis may be identified because of abnormal blood tests done for other reasons of screening for family members of people diagnosed with this disease. Physicians who can help diagnose this is if there are any. What iron tests determine hemochromatosis? There are three types here to remember that together will make up the iron panel test. These tests look at the serum ferritin, total iron binding capacity, and serum iron. These tests need to be taken as a panel, not independently, to receive a comprehensive and accurate assessment of a potential hemochromatosis diagnosis. Serum iron. This test is best conducted after fasting for at least 3 hours. Also, iron or vitamin C supplements should be discontinued of the use at least 3 days before taking this test. Don't discontinue any other medication unless your doctors do, however, tell you to do so. Serum ferritin, or SF. This test measures the amount of iron contained or stored in the body. Serum ferritin reference ranges are different for adults and children. For adults, the ideal range is 50 to 150 ng per ml. Total binding capacity, or TIBC. This test will tell how well your body can bind to iron. Serum iron divided by TIBC times 100 gives you the important information about the transferrin iron saturation percentage. TS percent is usually 25 to 35%. In some people with iron overload, the TS percent is very high. There are other types of iron overload where the TS percent is normal. In the past, liver biopsy was widely used to diagnose hemochromatosis. However, today, liver biopsy isn't necessary to diagnose the inherited form of HHC. DNA tests are available to determine if a person has genetic hemochromatosis, however. Again, as I said before, hemochromatosis is a genetic disorder. Confirming. Genetic tests can confirm a diagnosis and can help identify family members who are at risk for this. Most commonly, genetic tests is performed with a check swab. What causes it? Type 1 hemochromatosis is caused by defects, mutations in the HEV gene. HEV has many purposes, but one important role is that it helps to control the amount of iron that is absorbed from food. There are several known mutations in the HEV gene, but presently testing for only 3 is available: C2A2Y, H63D, and last but not least, the S65C. Everyone inherits 2 copies of HEV, one from the mom and one from the dad. When a person has one mutated copy, he or she is called the carrier or heterozygote. When a person has 2 the same of the mutated copies, they're called a homozygote. When a person has 2 different but mutated copies, they are then called a compound heterozygote. Genetics can be very difficult to understand at first. What is important, though, however, is that you know which gene combination causes the greatest known risk of iron loading. Most at risk: C2A2Y homozygote and the C2A2Y HC3D compound heterozygote. Moderate risk is your H63D homozygote or other compound heterozygote combinations. The low risk is your C2A2Y heterozygote, which is the carrier H63D heterozygote carrier or S65C heterozygote carrier. Risk can be modified by other genes, the environment, or any other unknown factors. Therefore, anyone with a muted copy of HFE should periodically ask their doctor to check the iron levels through hemoglobin, fasting serum iron T, IBC, and serum ferritin. Additional, your doctor may suggest other tests to confirm this diagnosis and to look for other problems. Liver function iron tests, these can help identify liver damage. MRI is a fast and non-invasive way to measure the degree of iron level in your liver. Testing for gene mutations. Testing for your DNA mutations in the HFE gene is recommended if you have high levels of iron in your blood. If you're considering genetic testing for hemochromatosis, discuss the pros and cons with your doctor or genetic counselor. Removing a sample of liver tissue for testing, which is your liver biopsy. If the liver is damage is suspected, your doctor may have a sample of tissue from your liver removed using a thin needle. The sample then will be sent to a laboratory to check for any of this presence of iron, as well as for any evidence of liver damage, especially scarring or cirrhosis. Risks of biopsy can include, however, bruising, bleeding, and infection. Treating hemochromatosis. It is very important to get iron levels down to normal. Therapeutic blood removal or phlebotomy is the most common means of iron reduction. Therapeutic phlebotomy is the same as regular blood donation, but TP requires a doctor's order prescription. Regular blood donation can be done every 8 weeks. A person with severe iron overload may, however, need to give blood as much as 8 times in a single month. The goal is to bring blood ferritin levels to an ideal range of 50 to 150 ng per ml. Depending on the amount of your iron overload at the time of the diagnosis, reaching normal levels can require several phlebotomies, however. Serum ferritin drops about 30 ng per ml, which each full unit 500 cc of blood removed. When ferritin falls more rapidly following this phlebotomy, there is likely some other reason for the fast rate other than blood donation. These reasons are more specific to the individual but can include presence of inflammation, changes in alcohol consumption, or changes to the medication. Once iron levels has reached normal, a person can begin maintenance therapy, which involves making a blood donation every 2 to 4 months for life. Some people may need to give blood more or less depending on what they eat and how quickly their body will absorb the iron. The TS percent in serum ferritin test can be done periodically to help determine how often blood should be removed. When hemochromatosis is diagnosed early and treated before organs are damaged, a person can live a normal life expectancy. In addition to therapeutic blood removal, you may further reduce your risk of complications if you avoid iron supplements and multivitamins that contain iron. These can increase your iron levels even more. Avoid vitamin C supplements. This increases absorption of iron. There is usually no need to restrict vitamin C in your diet, however. 3. Avoid alcohol. Alcohol greatly increases the risk of liver damage in people with hereditary hemochromatosis. If you have hereditary hemochromatosis and you already have liver disease, avoid alcohol completely. Avoid eating raw fish and shellfish. People with hereditary hemochromatosis infections, particularly those caused by certain bacteria in raw fish and shellfish. Additional dietary changes generally aren't required for people receiving blood removal treatment, however. For the diet, you can follow a hemochromatosis-friendly diet. Humans consume 2 types of iron, heme and non-heme. Heme iron is the most easily absorbed form of iron. Highest in heme iron is red meat such as beef, venison, lamb, and buffalo. Additionally, bluefin tuna is higher in heme iron than most other types of fish. All meat and fish can also contain non-heme iron, which is mostly found in vegetables, fruits, nuts, grains, and most importantly, over-the-counter iron supplements. Well, this quickly ends basically all about hemochromatosis. Smash the like button. Follow me on social media sites listed below. Feel free to subscribe if you feel to, because as I said, I'm hoping to do this maybe 3 days a week depending on my timetable schedule. Feel free to also turn on the notification bell so you can keep up to date with the news, stuff that I share with you all. Feel free to share these videos around. So, and all for the zoo, guys. Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. Do what you love what you do. Until next time, SB signing out, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao.